Good evening. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. This evening's topic, I'm going to talk about obsessive compulsive personality disorder symptoms. That's obsessive compulsory personality disorder symptoms. Now, I'm just going to shorten it so I don't have to have a word that is very lengthy to pronounce. So I'm going to call it OCPD. That's my acronym, OCPD. Now, OCPD is characterized by a preoccupation with orderliness, perfectionism, and mental and interpersonal control at the expense of flexibility, openness, and efficiency. When rules and established procedures do not dictate the correct answer, decision making may be a time consuming, often painful process. Individuals with OCPD may have such difficulty deciding which tasks take priority or which is the best way of doing some particular task that they may never get started on anything. They are prone to become upset or angry in situations in which they are not able to maintain control of their physical or interpersonal environment. Although the anger is typically not expressed directly. For example, a person may be angry when service in a restaurant is poor, but instead of complaining to the management, the person or the individual ruminates about how much of a tip they should leave. On other occasions, anger may be expressed with righteous indignation over a seemingly minor matter. That's right, that's righteous indignation over a matter that is trivial. Now, people with this disorder may be especially attentive to their relative status in dominance submission relationships and may express an excessive difference to an authority they respect and excessive resistance to authority they do not respect. Individuals with this disorder usually express affection in a highly controlled or stilted fashion and may be very uncomfortable in the presence of others who are emotionally expressive. Their everyday relationships have a formal and serious quality, and they may be stiff in situations in which others would smile and be happy. They carefully hold themselves back until they are sure that whatever they say will be perfect. They may be preoccupied with logic and intellect. A personality disorder is an enduring pattern of inner experience behavior that deviates from the norm of the individual's culture. The pattern is seen in two or more of the following areas: cognition effect, interpersonal functioning, or impulse control. The enduring pattern is inflexible and pervasive across a broad range of personal and social situations. It typically leads to significant distress or impairment in social, work, or other areas of functioning. The pattern is stable and of long duration, and its onset can be traced back to early adulthood or adolescence. Now, a pervasive pattern of preoccupation with orderliness, perfectionism, and mental and interpersonal control at the expense of flexibility, openness, and efficiency that begins by early adulthood and present in a variety of contexts as indicated by four more of the following that I'm going to talk about. Number one, person is preoccupied with details, rules, list, order, organization, or schedules to the extent that the major point of the activity is totally lost. Shows perfectionism that interferes with task completion. In other words, they're unable to complete a project because of their own overly strict standards that are not met. They're excessively devoted to work and productivity to the exclusion of leisure activities and friendships. Of course, not accounted for by obvious economic necessity. They're very overconscious, scrupulous, and inflexible about matters of morality, ethics, or values, not accounted for by, of course, cultural or religious identification. They're unable to discard worn out or worthless projects and objects when they have no sentimental value. They're very reluctant to delegate tasks or to work with others unless they submit to exactly their way of doing things. They also adopt a miserly spending style toward both self and others. Money is viewed as something to be hoarded for future catastrophes. They also show significant rigidity and stubbornness. That's why they're very inflexible. Now, because personality disorders describe long-standing and enduring patterns of behavior, they are most often diagnosed in adulthood. It is uncommon for them to be diagnosed in childhood or adolescence because a child or teen is under constant development, personality changes, and maturation. However, if it is diagnosed in a child or teen, the features must have been present for at least 1 year. Now, OCPD is approximately twice as prevalent in males than females and occurs between 2.1 and 7.9% of the general population. Like most personality disorders, OCPD typically will decrease in intensity with age, with many people experiencing few of the most extreme symptoms by the time they're in their 40s or 50s. Now, how is OCPD diagnosed? Personality disorders such as OCPD are typically diagnosed by a trained mental health professional, such as a psychologist or psychiatrist. Now, family physicians and general practitioners are generally not trained or well equipped to make any type of psychological diagnosis. So while one can initially consult a family physician about the problem, they should refer you to a mental health professional for diagnosis and treatment. There is no laboratory, blood, or genetic tests that are used to diagnose obsessive compulsive personality disorder. That's what I call OCPD. Now, many people with OCPD don't seek out treatment. People with personality disorders in general do not often seek out treatment until the disorder starts to significantly interfere or otherwise impact a person's life. This most often happens when a person's coping resources are stretched too thin to deal with stress or other life's events. A diagnosis for OCPD is made by a mental health professional comparing the symptoms and life histories. The mental health professional will make a determination whether the symptoms meet criteria necessary to complete a diagnosis of OCPD. Now, what are causes? Well, basically, when it comes to research, most researchers today don't even know anything about causes. So OCPD is just another one that's left out there to dry. However, there are many theories about the possible causes of OCPD. Most professionals describe to a biopsychosocial model of causation. That is, the causes are likely due to biological and genetic factors, social factors, such as how a person interacts in their early development with their family and friends and other children, and psychological factors, that's the individual's personality and temperament shaped by their environment and learned coping skills to deal with the stress. This suggests that no single factor is responsible. Rather, it is complex and likely intertwined nature of all three factors that are important. If a person has this personality disorder, research suggests that there is slightly increased risk for this disorder to be passed down to their children. Now, with any disorder, because it hasn't been researched for causes, the treatment is basically for symptoms. So, treatment of OCPD typically involves long-term psychotherapy with a therapist that has experience in treating this kind of personality disorder. Medications may also be prescribed to help with specific troubling and debilitating symptoms. You see, folks, when it comes to all these disorders that I talk about, you have studies. Of course, some of the research is inconclusive. But when it comes to medication and treatment, the bottom line with any mental disorder, you want to control the symptoms. To be clear, OCPD is a very strong personality disorder. This is also a subtopic of narcissism. But with this type of disorder, just to sum it up, a person is very, very orderly, but they don't get anything done. Why? Because they're constantly looking for perfection. One must understand that perfection doesn't exist. So, if you have this order, definitely seek some help, because individuals with any type of disorder, and this is a big one because it hasn't been researched for causes. And a number of us don't know if we have this type of disorder. I know in the military, it may seem some of the drill sergeants have these disorders because we're always taught about perfection and precision in the military, and you can never do anything right because in the military, we were constantly trying to keep up with standards. And sometimes the standards shift to where they were never met. That is also true in some working environments. I know myself, I'll be honest, some of this information that I'm presenting, I know I can be too detailed at times, and what that does, that makes me stubborn. And I don't like to be stubborn. And when you're stubborn, that means you're inflexible. You're hard to be around. I did have that issue in the past and had to learn to lighten up because everything is not based on work and productivity all the time. What you need is to have some entertainment in your life. Now, life can't be all entertainment. However, I had to learn that my focus should be on a balanced life. When you work too much or when you're so focused on trying to make everything perfect, you miss out on a lot of life. And what happens if tasks aren't getting done, even when the standards have been set? Well, the person in position with the disorder, they're going to end up being depressed. And then other anxieties such as eating disorders, they're going to come about. And I told you in previous videos that all of these disorders, they connect to each other. You may have one personality disorder, you may have two, three, but the bottom line is, if you as the individual are educated about the disorder, it's much easier to get help. But you have to admit that you have an issue. So what I'm laying out here is just an overview on managing the situation and getting to know about the situation, because you can't handle something that you don't know about. So, when it comes to any disorder, seek a professional. They have all the answers. It's always best to be smart and educated about the problems that you have, because in the long run, they'll be easy to solve, and one can live a prosperous life, because you only live once. So take advantage of all the information if you have a disorder, because you can be cured. Life is not a bitch. Life is fantastic. But in the end, life is what you make it. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show for this evening, Saturday, May 20th, 2017. You can tune in to the 411 Talk Zone radio show every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. Tonight, we had a fantastic show. I talked about narcissism. If you missed the show, you can always go back into the 401 Talk Zone Blog Talk Radio show link. Click on the show there. The show is archived, or you can click on the link on my Facebook page. And I'd love for individuals to listen to the show, because the information was fantastic and educational. And I believe education is the truth as long as you apply it to the right principle. Next week's show, I'm going to talk about paranoia and delusion. So if you think I got thumbs down on the paranoia and delusional video on YouTube, I'd like you all to come and listen to it in its entirety on a radio show, because I'm bringing that hard hitting. It's going to be next Saturday's Blog Talk Radio show comment. If you want to get in on the call, the guest calling number is 215-383-5785, 215-383-5785. And if you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 401 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube, so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now, on my channel, I do not debate. I don't do controversial social issues or emotional issues, nor do I participate in drama or unnecessary bickering. Why? Because it's counterproductive. My channel's to give you information. And information is realistic and positive, because on my channel, I want my audience to understand that the real world is very challenging. So take the information that I'm delivering, apply it to your way of life, and see if it helps you. Because at the end of the day, knowledge is power. And if you have a business, a topic, or a new YouTube channel that you would like for me to discuss on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. And if you have a comment, please leave your comment in the comment section under the video. But make sure that your comments are pithy. No bloviating, pettifogging, or filibustering if you wish to opine. Now that's it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Please, remember, be respectful and gentle to each other, and have a wonderful and blessed night. Good night.